A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
On February 20, 2026, the United States declared war on Iran. And currently, the Israeli government refuses to give a deadline on when exactly peace will be an option. Donald Trump is also turning Iran to send ground troops by the end of 6th of April if the Strait of Hormuz is not opened up. And if you were paying close attention, you could have seen it coming. Not because Trump is some unhinged pedophile who would attack any country to bury the Epstein files, but because he's the unhinged pedophile who will attack any country to bury the Epstein files. But he's also someone surprisingly irrational for attacking Iran. And that actually sounds way scarier now that I'm saying it out loud. So, I want to introduce to you a framework. It's called rational choice theory. We're going to reverse engineer exactly why this war happened and who's benefiting from it.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
Okay, so rational choice theory. So the idea of rational choice theory is pretty simple. At its core, people make decisions by weighing costs and benefits. They pick the option that gives them the most value in return. They pick the option that gives them the highest expected payoffs. That's it. That's the whole thing about rational choice theory. So with all said and done, rational choice theory is actually more beautiful than what it seems. You see, rational choice doesn't care about your stated goals. It doesn't care about what someone says they're doing. It only cares about the actual motives, which are the incentives. Because people can say whatever they like, but their motives can't lie. So when the US government tells you this war is about protecting the American way of life, which it clearly isn't about, how the hell are they protecting a country from another country which is 10,000 kilometers away? Like, come on, that makes no sense. More like protecting some other country's way of life, if you get what I mean. Or when the US government tells you this war is about nukes, or about democracy and replacing the Ayatollah regime. Rational choice theory goes, okay, cool, don't care. Here's the actual receipts. So let's see what the US has stated their actual goals are. The official reasons for attacking Iran given by Donald Trump and the Pentagon are roughly, number one, Iran was building intercontinental ballistic missiles that are capable of hitting the United States. Number two, Iran was weeks away from developing a nuclear weapon.
We set the record straight. Yes, we had ties in the Oklahoma City bombings. Yes, we had our fingers dipped in 9/11. And yes, we murked that Charlie Kirk. But folks, we cannot lose sight of what really matters here, and that is Iran is only days away from producing a nuclear weapon that will ruin this world.
And lastly, we had to act now or it is too late. Well, the US intelligence didn't back any of that shit up. Their own intelligence, the CIA, refused to back up the facts that Donald Trump stated himself. Well, quote-unquote facts. Like, come on. Trump just said it out loudly on TV repeatedly until people believed it. This is called preference falsification. Like Hitler once said, if you tell a lie, make it big enough, and repeat it, people will eventually believe it. Trump manufactured a public justification that doesn't match the actual decision calculus. Governments actually like to do this, like all the fucking time. For example, when they kept saying Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. So did they have any in the end? No, of course not. So if the stated motives are garbage, what are the actual real payoffs?
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
So let's build the real model. What does the US, and specifically Trump, actually gain from this war? Payoff number one, the oil. Trump actually told the Financial Times, and this is a direct quote, that he wants to take the oil in Iran. He compared it to what the US did in Venezuela earlier this year. When the leader of a country tells you that he wants another country's oil and attacks them for it, that's just the rational choice theory telling you that this is an actual motive. Payoff number two, domestic politics. Nothing rallies a base like a war. Approval ratings spike, critics get called unpatriotic. If you're not supporting Donald Trump, you're a communist. Investigations slow down. Epstein files are never going to get released. And the political cost of war in the short term is negative. Wait, what does that mean? Meaning it benefits the decision maker. That's a disgusting incentive built into a system. And this is true for other administrations other than Donald Trump's administration. Payoff number three, the Israeli and Saudi alliance. Both Israel and Saudi Arabia have spent years lobbying for this exact outcome. The attack was a joint US-Israeli attack. These are relationships with enormous geopolitical and economic value to the US. When your most powerful regional allies want something and it aligns with your other incentives, the rational choice becomes pretty clear. America is just a good guy for Israel. Add those three up, and you don't need nukes, you don't need intercontinental ballistic missiles, you just need a pretext for a war, and 65% of your politicians being lobbied by a single lobbyist international group. The strike on February happened during ongoing nuclear negotiations. Iran was at the table, talks were happening, and the US launched a surprise attack, and they ended up killing Ayatollah Khamenei in the process. From a rational choice perspective, this makes perfect sense if the goal was never actually a negotiated solution. Because the negotiated solution doesn't get you the oil. It doesn't get you the political rally. It doesn't neutralize Iran as a regional power to help certain someone. A negotiation deal gives you a deal. That's it. So the negotiations weren't actually a negotiation. They were just a clock. They were just showing a way to publicly demonstrate, we tried to negotiate, but the Arabs just don't listen, before doing what they always wanted to do. And what was exactly going to happen anyway? You know, the usual United States thing. Freedom for all, you know?
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
The economic motive was stated out loud. The political motive is historically consistent. The intelligence was being inflated like exactly in 2003, what they did to Iraq. The US government tells you that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. They've got intelligence, they've got Colin Powell at the UN.
When Iraq finally admitted having these weapons in 1995, the quantities were vast. Less than a teaspoon of dry anthrax, a little bit about this amount. This is just about the amount of a teaspoon. Less than a teaspoonful of dry anthrax in an envelope shut down the United States Senate in the fall of 2001. This forced several hundred people to undergo emergency medical treatment and killed 2 postal workers just from an amount, just about this quantity that was inside of an envelope.
Iraq declared 8,500 liters of anthrax.
But UNSCOM estimates that Saddam Hussein could have produced 25,000 liters if concentrated into this dry form, this amount.
They've got a deadline, they've got urgency, the threat is imminent, they have to act now. So they invaded and they found nothing. No weapons of mass destruction, no nukes, no imminent threat, just oil fields and a power vacuum that destabilized an entire region for 2 decades. Perfect outcome for the owner of somewhere that started in 1948.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
So what were the actual incentives in the 2003 Iraq war? Why did the US actually attack Iraq? Well, let's see. Oil, defense contracts, geopolitics, a president whose family had financial ties with Saudi Arabia and the broader Gulf region. A public that was still reeling back from 9/11 and they wanted something to punish something or someone. Sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? Well, I'm not going to sit here and justify what Ayatollah did. I'm not going to say he was a good person or anything like that. But then again, what does the US have to do with it, you know? If you know what I mean. Why is the US spreading freedom in Iran? Matter of fact, in my opinion, if the US were to capture the Strait of Hormuz, they would still impose the blockade and put 50% tariff on all the oils, man. I swear. That's my prediction of 2028. If the US controls the Strait of Hormuz, they're going to put tariffs on oil. All right? That's my prediction. So here we are in 2026. Inflated intelligence? Check. Shifting justifications that contradict each other week after week? Check. A leader who literally said that he wants another country's oil and it didn't make the headlines? the news. I mean, what more do we need? You see, rational choice theory isn't a crystal ball that needs to prophesize exactly when the war is going to start. The rational choice theory doesn't need that. It needed people to stop taking press releases at face value and start asking one simple question. Who's benefiting from all of this? And how? And that's it really. That's the whole methodology. Whoever benefits, follow that thread, and you'll always end up finding the real decisions. We found it in 2003 and ignored it. Although now we found it in 2026 too, and we didn't question it again. So I don't know what's more depressing, that the model is still the exact same, or that we don't really care if the model is the same.